Hi, everyone. Dr. Mary Ellen here. So I wanted to check in and, talk about a couple things. I'm kind of getting a sense based off of emails that I'm getting and talking with others and, outreach in the community. A lot of people are feeling overwhelmed, myself included. And I wanted to unpack that a bit and talk about that for a bit. I'm going to, dedicate this week to self care and awareness. And then next week, get back into resisting happiness. Um, I wanted to wear my headphones today. So I know they're pretty gigantic, but they're the bomb. I love them. Anyway, so we're starting to feel and get overwhelmed again. And oh, hold on. I think my dog is getting sick. Uh, well, we'll see. He's been sick for a few days, so I'll check that in a bit. I'm sorry. Anyhow, so we're starting to get overwhelmed again. Or have we just been overwhelmed and it's just starting to compound and escalate? And we're creating more of awareness about it because it's affecting, maybe our daily lives. Is it affecting our thoughts, our behavior, our moods, our action, inaction? And I just wanted to, touch base on that. Um, I think based off of the consensus of people that I've spoken with is that we're getting overwhelmed because we kind of had a little bit of a reprieve in inflation, just a little bit. Gas prices were coming down. I'm just going to give you categories where, you know, I'm hearing people are just at their wits' end and overwhelmed. So we got a reprieve a little bit from gas prices. And I don't know if you've noticed within the past 2 weeks that across the country, prices have gone up again exponentially. So where we were at, roughly mid to higher twos per gallon, we're now back at mid threes, moving into $4 a gallon. Well, that has an impact on people. It's their livelihood. It's people struggling who, how are they going to, you know, afford the things that they need, not the things they want, the things they need. So, you know, eating healthy, for example. And to be able to do that, you need to, eggs, milk, chicken, vegetable, you name it. And across the board, it's all going up again. And there's a lot of worry and concern on where we're going to be 6 months from now. So the first point is I understand the worry. I understand the concern. I'm right there with everybody. Yet I tell myself, and it's really hard to do, why worry about something like inflation that you can't control? Why worry about 6 months from now versus handling our business in the here and now? It's something to be mindful of because when we start to forecast into the future, oh my gosh, what's things going to be like in 6 months, next year? How am I going to do this? How am I going to afford that? And so much more, we start to catastrophize. And then our thoughts and our emotions, it gets discombobulated. So, overwhelm, what does that mean to you, being overwhelmed? And when do you notice it? Do you notice it right away? Are there signs and signals that prompt you to think and feel that you're overwhelmed. Some people, like myself, I don't realize I'm overwhelmed until I'm at a point where I know my mood, my attitude, my behavior, my outlook has changed. And then I have to step back and say, why are you being so irritable? Why are you in such a bad mood? What is weighing on you? And it's okay to talk to yourself and have this conversation. And then when we can begin to create our attention, to hone our attention into one thing that you want to work on or identify, it makes it easier. I'm not going to say it's easy, it just makes it a bit easier. So, what is it that's on our plates that we're overwhelmed with? Family. So, let's look at this inflation and the cost of everything, family, health, crime, which is escalating in across the country, maybe unexpected expenses. What else? What else is getting under your skin? For me, it's everything. And that right there tells me I haven't addressed anything as it's been coming at me. So I'll give you an example. About 3 weeks ago, maybe two and a half, I started exercising again. It was wonderful. And I felt great. I felt strong. I felt motivated, um, just really empowered. And I had some good workouts. And then I slipped and fell at the gym in the locker room. And I landed so hard on my hip and my back and then my elbow that I haven't been back. I'm in so much pain. But yet I keep going in every aspect of my life except exercising. So, in looking back, like, why am I so overwhelmed now? Like a big ball, and it's all in that ball. And where's the correlation of when it started? So, exercise is a wonderful way to kind of take being overwhelmed and start minimizing it. Exercise is probably one of the best things you can do because although it sucks getting in the rhythm to try to exercise, once you do it, once you dedicate that time, whether you're at home, whether you go to a gym, whatever it is, but once you dedicate that time, that moment for you to exercise because you want to feel better, it does make a difference. So I'm frustrated and overwhelmed because it just kind of feels like, and you may be feeling this too, it's like one thing right after another, after another, after another. And then we get to a point where, geez, how much more can we take? Like, what is going on where it feels, well, when you feel like that, take a step back. Tell yourself, okay, you have this going on, you have this going on, this going on, this going on, but you can only address one thing at a time. So you have to pick and choose what the priority is and then put the other stuff aside and start taking this big ball and making it smaller into more manageable segments that you can easily manage. Maybe not easily manage, but I'd much rather try to manage one thing than I would a gazillion things that seem to be going on. So one way to minimize that feeling of just I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know which direction to go. My thoughts are all over the place. My emotions are all over the place. I'm moody. I'm miserable. I'm irritable. Everything is bothering me. When you realize that, it's time for a change. It's time for you to do something. For a change. It's time for you to do something, whatever that might be. So we know that exercise is a good thing to do. Another area that maybe might help is dedicating time to just sit back and listen to music. Find that music that you like, that connects you to other people, to the joy in your life, to the memories you have, and allow yourself to feel that. If you allow yourself to feel that and focus on that, all that being overwhelmed in that big ball starts to feel like maybe the ball is not so big. Something to think about. Another thing is creative expression, whatever that looks like for you. For some, it's painting. For others, it's playing a musical instrument. Others, it's, knitting or sewing or crocheting. Others, it's, scrolling social media, maybe putting pictures together, a collage. And what that does, again, it takes all of our mind, and hones it. It hones it into the here and now. What am I doing in the here and now? All that other shit is going to be there. But what am I doing in the here and now that's helping me to be able to manage bits and pieces of what's making me overwhelmed? Another option is meditate. Now, I've tried to meditate, and I will tell you it does not work for me because I can't settle my mind. I am working on it, I am trying, but when I try to meditate, all of a sudden my thoughts seem to start racing. And, you know, it's really hard. One way that I am showing is starting to be effective, though, is if I lay on the ground. If I'm sitting up and I'm trying to meditate, it's hard. But if I lay down, my arms are spread, my legs are spread, my back is stretched, my arms might be over my head or on the side, and you just focus on your breathing. Breathe in through your nose for about 4 seconds. Hold it for about 4 seconds, and then release it through your mouth for about 4 seconds, or whatever you can do. But if you can make it to doing 4, 4, 4, that's really going to help. So there's another area we can work on in terms of taking everything that's overwhelming and kind of putting it on the side. We're going to address it, we're going to get to it, but one bit at a time, one step at a time. The other thing is make a list. Now, some people thrive with lists. Some people get overwhelmed. They may look at it and be like, fuck, I got all this to do. But make it a smaller list, maybe, without so much detail in it. Sometimes when we add too much detail to the things we have to do, that can create being overwhelmed. So a short list. For example, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm dealing with the dentist. I'm dealing with finding an orthopedist. I'm overwhelmed because I haven't been in the gym. I'm starting to feel the negative effects of that. Overwhelmed because my dog is sick. So that's 5 things. And it just feels like my brain is going to explode. So what I've done is I've mapped out the priorities and what I need to address and when. So I will address the dentist to get back in there and have them put the crown back on that was popped off, that they popped off. But yet, that in and of itself overwhelms me because it comes down to they want me to pay for new x-rays. They want me to pay for an office visit. They want me to pay for, re-cementing a crown. And that irritates me because all of this was their error, but yet I'm the one paying the price for it. So I have to let that go. I have to just bite off, so to speak, a little bit. What is manageable? Well, it's manageable that I can make a dentist appointment and then just take it from there. Address it when I'm at the dentist office versus worrying about it when I'm at home. Because what good is it going to do for me to worry here at home? It's going to do no good. So just let it go. The orthopedic doctor. Now that's been a real hassle. I'm doing everything that I have been advised to do. I went to the emergency room, got x-rays, was referred to my primary for evaluation, and then needed to be referred to an orthopedist. Well, my primary was out of the office, so I saw someone else in the office, and that was shit. This guy was a fucker. He did not listen. He did not validate anything. And yet, he's telling me, go exercise. Just exercise. You'll feel better. And I'm like, fuck you, buddy. I slipped and fell on tile floor on my hip and my back. What makes you think I can exercise the way I was exercising? And he just didn't listen to me. And that pissed me off. Hence, that added to me being overwhelmed. So the appointment is done with. Why am I still annoyed with that? Well, I'm annoyed because I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm not being successful at it. I'm putting that on me, where in fact, it's not that I'm not being successful at it. I don't have anybody reciprocating the effort in helping to come to a resolution with my injuries. So what I tell myself is, Mare, just do what you can. No more. You've done this, you've done that, you've done this. Now it's a wait game. I've made the phone calls to get into the surgeon, and it's a wait game. If they call me back, wonderful. If I have to reach out to them again, well, that's just something I'm going to have to do. So acceptance of things can also decrease feeling overwhelmed. Once we accept what is, we can get it off our plate and move on to the next task, if you will. The other thing is, my dog is sick. He's been sick since Friday night. And I spoke with the vet. The vet said he probably just ate something at the park. So just to feed him some plain chicken and rice, but not to feed him for 24 hours first. And then here's me like, I want to feed him. So I'm feeling overwhelmed with the fact that I'm thinking he's hungry and yet I can't feed him. So then I have to step out of that and say, first of all, you're not inside his brain. You don't know if he's hungry. Chances are he's not hungry because he has an upset stomach. So I just have to keep an eye on him. And that helps me to take that big ball of being overwhelmed and decrease it. But then it pops back up because he was doing great and where he's not getting sick every hour. Now he's getting sick like every 5 hours. And I'm still worried. But I'm telling myself, Well, that's better than it was the last couple of days. So he's probably on the mend. And that's fantastic. So when I look at it from that perspective, instead of being like, oh my God, my dog is sick. He's my whole life. He's everything. When I look at the positive of the last couple days where he is making improvement, then that feeling of being overwhelmed starts to dissipate. Then we have we go out into the world, and sometimes we have days where we're just moody. We're cranky, we're unsettled, all of it. And with that, it gives us an overwhelming feeling of, I would say, despair. Like, why are we feeling like this? We don't like feeling like this. So, one of the things that leads up to that, where everything is just irking you, pissing you off, um, kind of taking the what would you call it? The fire out of you, is because you haven't been taking care of yourself. You have stopped doing the things you want to do. You have stopped doing things that give you comfort, joy, laughter, peace. And you're just going through the motions. When we start just going through the motions with really no sense of purpose, and we're just kind of wandering through our day, hoping that we don't have anything else added to our plate, it throws us off balance. So, how can we change that? How can we manage that? So, I would say start the day with something that you enjoy. Worry's going to be there, problems are going to be there. But maybe start your day with, you know what? I'm only going to do what I can do today. I'm not going to allow this to worry me. I'm not having this worry me. I'm going to choose to just kind of go with the flow and remind myself of what makes me happy. So, whatever that is, I don't know. Allow yourself to get lost in a book, in the newspaper. I read the newspaper. I love the newspaper. Online, look at articles, look at funny stuff. I like looking at memes. I don't understand all of them, but I like looking at them, and just allow yourself to ease into your day. Maybe your alarm clock goes off, to get up and get ready to go wherever you're going to. I don't know, maybe set the alarm clock 15 minutes earlier and allow yourself 10 or 15 minutes to just ease out of bed. I don't know. Some of us might fall back to sleep. I know I would. But it's something. Change up what you're doing a tiny bit. I'm not asking you to make big changes. I'm not saying, okay, get out of bed and fuck everything else for the day. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have control over your day. You have control over whatever is in your life that's overwhelming you. So, for example, I am so overwhelmed by what's happening in our country. I am incredibly concerned about what I'm seeing. I am seeing, our elderly who now are really struggling to buy a week's worth of groceries. I'm worried terribly about our healthcare system, where rural communities are having a difficult time getting in to see the doctors or specialists that they need. And I'm sure it's happening in metropolitan areas. We miss the days where we can make a phone call talk to someone, schedule an appointment for like a week out, and be done with it. But now we're facing days where we're leaving messages. We are faced with an automated machine where the answering service is outsourced and then they have to send a message to the staff to get an appointment. We are facing shortages on medication, and that's overwhelming because people get that fear of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if I don't get my medication? Well, that is a valid concern. Absolutely. So perhaps what people can do is start talking to their doctor now to kind of be proactive in case that happens. Now, the doctors can help too. Maybe they put in a prescription for, a 90-day supply. Maybe they write it for 6 months. I'm not sure what their guidelines are with that, but there's always a way to work around something. We're irritated and annoyed and overwhelmed because the level of people's reaction, I would say, and approach to us. I mean, I don't know about you, but lately, all the calls that I get or that I'm making, excuse me, that I'm making to handle things, 99.9% of the people that I've spoken with have been awful, rude, disengaged, sounding like they just don't care. Well, my initial reaction is it upsets me deeply because I feel people deserve to be treated with positive regard. But then I remind myself, I'm not the only one that's overwhelmed. Everybody that we come in contact with is also overwhelmed, whether it's a customer service agent, whether it's a doctor's office, whether it's, you know, maybe a clinic that you go to. Everybody is feeling the pressure. So we can either add to that pressure or we can work to resolve and not invite that pressure into our lives. It's hard. I get it. So we need to do what we can to take care of ourselves, take care of our family, be there for our friends, and just one small change at the start of your day and even at the end of your day. One tiny bit. It's not asking for a lot. I can't tell you what to change, but I can say if we do tiny bits, then that will help to minimize that feeling of being overwhelmed. And the thing that's working for me this week is I have sticky notes on my desk, little post it notes. And I know if I create a post it note and stick it on my desk, those are the things that I have to get to this week. Everything else can just wait. What is, is. What will be, will be. And just focus on the immediate moment in the here and now to decide what am I capable of doing right now, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So I'm going to say just try to focus on the here and now in the immediacy of the moment because everything somehow has a way of working out. It may not work out the way we want, but we live in a world where there are resolutions. And one of the biggest things, finally, is when you're feeling overwhelmed, reach out. Reach out to others. because you may find more similarities than differences. And together we can help each other. I appreciate you tuning in. Feel free to email me at docscornerchat@gmail.com. If you have any recommendations, topics, something you want to share, it would be wonderful to hear from you. Until next time, make sure you take care of yourself. Bye.